A long time ago, back in old-timey Nova Scotia, a deathly spirit roamed the streets of a small town in a tiny settlement along the east coast. This was a time when storytelling was the main source of entertainment. The nights were quiet, the gold rush was underway, and those gold-digging days were long and loud. My great-great-great-grandfather, Charlie Schwartz, lived in this town, and he wrote in his journal about all the strange happenings surrounding this spirit called the Forerunner. He wrote of a young man catching a deathly cold, and how, in the nighttime, the Forerunner could be heard, wailing and shrieking along the shore. No one ever saw the spirit, as he was a sound ghost, heard but not seen. The young man died the next day. A mile away from Charlie, there lived an old lighthouse keeper named Sandy Kelp. Evidently, Charlie and Sandy were very close friends. But according to his journal, Charlie had mixed feelings about Sandy. He insulted him often, but at the same time, he wrote more poetic entries, like this one. Sandy Kelp is sodding mad, dumber than a flipping cod. Yet other days, he's not so bad. He's still my friend, so bless him, God. There was a rumor at the time that these two best friends were also lovers. And while there's no evidence of that in the journals, I like to believe it's true, because I think it's kinda cute. As the harsh winters passed through the years, Sandy Kelp got older and older, and one winter, he caught a terrible cold. So Charlie stayed by his side and started running the lighthouse for him, after Sandy became too weak to move. Bedridden and drained of life, Sandy was days away from death. One night, Charlie went out to dig for gold and left Sandy alone. When Charlie returned to the lighthouse, Sandy told him all about the Forerunner. How he'd been hearing it every night, roaming and wailing, circling the lighthouse. Death was indeed coming for him. The Forerunner was closing in. This will be my last night, he said, and Sandy thanked Charlie for being so kind, and Charlie told him that he would continue running the lighthouse to the best of his ability.
I will boldly carry on the lonely, oldie-timey lighthouse traditions of old,
writes Charles. So here we are. The final journal entry is from the night after Sandy almost died, and it's insane. Listen up. A ghost will always be a ghost to a true believer, but oh, now the time has come. The Forerunner is here, barking at us through the door. It's a stormy night and the wind rattles our walls, and here I stand, waiting for death to claim this man. A good man who is nothing but a failure of a human being, but still, a good man. A good man, and one ripping good lighthouseman. The door blew open, and the Forerunner's footsteps could be heard. It knocked on the ceiling aboveth Sandy's bed. Just before the spirit claimed the life of my friend, I quickly picked up a glove and tossed it up in the air.
Duel!
I shouted. The knocking stopped.
I challenge you to a duel, sir.
And oh, the spirit did answer with me.
A duel? Is it a duel, or is it a deal? Which do you seek?
I seek both.
All right then,
Whispered the ghost.
let's have a fencing match. You win, your friend lives. I win, your friend dies. And you will also die, shortly after your friend.
Then a fencing we shall go. Let us begin.
I declared.
Draw your sword, sir, and meet me out in the garden.
Sir? On guard.
So then my great-great-great-grandfather Charlie met the Forerunner out in the lighthouse garden, and they had a swift yet intense fencing match.
Right.
Remarkably, Charlie was the victor, as he writes here. I fenced forth on the Forerunner, and I won the match fair and square. Spirit cowered away after I knocked the sword fromst his hand. The Forerunner screeched, "You are superior, sir." And then he stopped maketh any sounds. It was all very amusing. Yeah, so the Forerunner, indeed, left Sandy alone for another several years before returning back to the lighthouse on one stormy winter day. While walking home after a long afternoon of sunbathing, a great wave crashed over Sandy Kelp, causing him to slip on the rocks, and, tragically, he fell into the ocean. Sandy wasn't a strong swimmer, so he drowned after a few minutes. Charles must have been devastated. The lighthouse belonged to him now, but he didn't really want to run the lighthouse. It was hard work that he wasn't qualified for, and Charlie actually ended up sinking hundreds of ships during his time as lighthouseman, before the title was eventually taken away from him.
The problem is that I sleepeth too much.
Charlie slept a lot, so much so that he was rarely there to operate the light. Sailors came up with a nasty song about him called Sleepy Charlie. The song died off after a century or so, but I did find a creepy old recording of it in the lighthouse archives.
Sleepy Charlie, you blind old goat. Every day you sink another boat. You have to turn the light on so the ships can get around. Wake up, Charlie, you sleepy old hound. Turn the light on, Charlie, turn the light on, Charlie. That's all you have to do is turn the light on, Charlie.
I felt bad for my great-great-great-grandfather after hearing this song. He was a brave and noble man, but to be fair, in all seriousness, Charlie had caused thousands of deaths, and deserved the death penalty for his negligence. He's lucky they didn't hang him. About a decade later, at the ripe old age of 37, Sleepy Charlie went to sleep for good. He never wrote another journal entry leading up to his death, but I can imagine he heard the cries of the Forerunner one last time. I'm Pete Schwartz, and you've been listening to the story of Death and the Forerunner on Pete's Paranormal Universe, the only paranormal documentary radio series worth listening to. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Hey there, Crackerjacks. It's your old pal DB Cooper here, and I'm about to tell you about this new pair of underwear I got that's changed my fucking life. Do you have a problem where your undies get holes in the crotch all the time because your balls are really heavy and big? Well, say no more, Pally Jack. Duke's leather no-holes underwear are a special kind of underwear, custom made for guys with big brass balls like yours truly. We go through, I'd say, 5 pairs of undies a month because they got massive scrotums with big, heavy, sweaty balls inside there. So don't sit on your balls over here. You can order online today at dukesleather.com. And be sure to enter the discount code DBCooperBalls to get 50% off your first pair. Do it now, you schmuck.
Thank you, DB Cooper. I personally don't have that problem, but I'm sure some people do. That's our show for this week. Tune in next time for a deep dive into the Bay of Fundy. And hey, it'll be a fun day at Fundy, as they say. All right, I'll see you later then, guys.
Ooh. You have to turn the light on so the ships can get around. Wake up, Charlie, you sleepy old hound. Turn the lights on, Charlie, turn the lights on, Charlie. You have to do is turn the lights on, Charlie. We have to do it again. Oh, sorry.